So it's precisely 1 year since our last talk. Often people don't realize how much they change in a year. So I decided to start this challenge and to see how you would answer to the very same questions 1 year later. Hi.
Hello. I know it's been ages. I'm actually trying now to remember what the questions were, but that's probably the best state to be in, and then we can actually see if there is real change.
Let's see. So let's start with the very first question. Who are you? Tell us about yourself and your current role at Unity Technologies.
So I'm Bronte. I'm currently the Global Senior Manager for Customer Service at Unity Technologies. So I'm Bronte. I lead the European Customer Service team at Unity. I have a team of 8 people. They are all amazing, and I really, really enjoy my job and what I do every day. It was actually my 7th year Unity-versary last Wednesday. I guess the role, the company, myself have changed so much in 7 years, let alone 1 year since speaking to you before. So I initially started as a customer service representative when there were 4 people on the team, and now we're at 35-ish, give or take. And I've sort of had various roles within the team that have, I guess, built my skills over those years. But my current role is an interim role whilst my manager is on maternity. So I'm really managing the European team, also the wider global team over like a few locations, and kind of heading up the customer service function.
Mm-hmm. So for someone thinking about occupying a similar role, how would you describe a typical working day for you?
So I guess being a manager, the main thing is people. So I make sure, I'm checking in with my team, that they're happy and they have, all that they need to work productively and to provide our users with the best experience. So, I'm there to enable them. So therefore my team are my main priority. I also want to make sure through the week that I'm actively getting feedback from the team, our customers, and, my colleagues on any processes that are working well or those that may need improvement as well. So, I spend a lot of time with my fellow leads implementing new strategies to make sure, that everything's ticking over nicely, and that, we're working towards our team goals. On the day-to-day, I very much think sort of people over process.
This would be your personal rule, people over process?
Yeah, I think it's like a good motto. Days change, but I think it's sort of like the core values of how you work your job and what you care about are the important things. And I think, people extends for people in your team, but also it counts for your customers and your users as well, and how they feel about the service that you're providing.
What is customer service?
I guess in that sense, that is just about the users. It's about providing them with an excellent service where you're supporting their needs, you're also listening to them as well, and what they want from not only the product but from your service too. So that sort of active listening part, getting their feedback and kind of escalating that to people who can make change as well. Also about keeping your customers sort of with you, invested in the product and your brand, and making sure that their journey using in this case software, using the Unity engine to be successful in their own right. And specifically with Unity, customers are creating amazing things, sometimes like beyond even imaginable. Gives you some pride in the fact that you are supporting these users to create amazing things, make loads of money if that's what they want, and provide an amazing experience for their users as well, their customers. Obviously the customer experience is so important. In customer service, you are the front lines for any incoming problems, and I think problem is the key word there. as the likelihood is, you're going to be contacted because something is wrong. I guess what I love about this role and customer service, although sometimes difficult, it's that you have the power to turn it all around. So you can solve that issue and put your customers first and really influence their view on your company with the service you provide. I think the support function is fundamental to businesses, but has traditionally been overlooked as it isn't necessarily revenue generating. However, I think sales people and customer service work so closely together. Sales are also providing a service. Essentially, they're another frontline face of a company. And they also have, the power to create these wonderful experiences for their customers.
In the past few years, particularly the last year, a lot of things changed, and
Yes.
also the way we function. So how do you keep up with trends, with what's happening in the market, with new customer service approaches? Because things are changing now so fast. So how do you manage to gather information or intel and to see what's important in your field at the moment?
Yeah, and I think that, as you say, things do change so quickly. I think it's really challenging to stay abreast of new sort of ideas, especially in the customer experience space, when already sometimes you feel so far behind 2 years ago or a year ago. And but I think LinkedIn is a really great way of doing it. Following the right people, looking out for the right content. And I also think that sometimes it takes your proactivity out of it. Sometimes you can be reactive. You're displaying yourself to people whose jobs it is to promote these certain technologies to you, or these these options. So, very often I would get contacted by companies who have new products that they think would be helpful to the business and to the customer experience for our users. So I think LinkedIn is a really great platform for that, for sure. And also, I guess, just sort of conferences are good as well. I recently went to, well, not so recently, but went to one at the end of last year with a company called SGSA, and it was a forum of other support leaders, and it was really cool to sit in a room with other people, because that hasn't happened for a while, but also be with people who work in the same job role as you at different companies and different industries, and kind of bounce ideas off each other
to cross-fertilize.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really interesting because of the difference in industries and culture of companies. It actually sparked some debate. And there was one scenario where it was around return to office, and me and this other person were having this, I think, a healthy debate, and so did he in the end. And we were just bouncing these ideas off each other, and I learned from him, and I believe he learned from me as well. And we actually both left being that was one of the key parts of my day. And not only trends within the customer experience space, but trends just that companies are having to think about currently. At Unity, we also have good partnerships with, companies that I guess we use their tech to support our customers. So often they share useful white papers or statistics on customer behavior, and also new features that are coming out, which all can be really insightful and helpful for us.
Managing people is a very humbling role and experience. How do you take care of your people? How do you take care of their well-being and at the same time deliver upon KPIs, expectations?
So I guess for me, being supportive and empathetic and human are sort of key qualities in a leadership role. I think if you create an environment where people feel comfortable to share their thoughts or communicate their problems, and where they ultimately trust each other, I think this is where you're going to sort of see results. If you respect your people and they respect you, they'll want to do a good job and will do the right thing. I think so. I check in with my team daily, and we don't just talk business. I know them as workers and as people, and I think if you have and build this rapport, it's easier to sort of feel when they're close to burnout, especially sort of 2020 being how it was, or just sort of having a stressful day. I think having that rapport sort of gives you the platform to also provide feedback and coaching on potentially when the work isn't at a high standard, and they therefore understand that that's coming from a good place because you want them to succeed. For me, it's about being human. First of all, the people that you are working with, who are on your team, you are there to serve them. They are the key sort of cogs in the machine of making your function work, of hitting those KPIs, of reaching those targets. Like, without them, like, you are nothing, essentially. And the function cannot do the job that it's sort of like set out to do. So I think being understanding of everyone's kind of got their own thing going on, and I think very much that like ebbs and flows as well. So it might be that at one point someone on the team is sort of struggling with XYZ, they feel overworked, they feel overwhelmed, but then another time it might be someone else and they'll be doing absolutely great. It's like never stagnant. I don't think people will ever sort of stay the same throughout. So it's about being adaptable, understanding that people are people. In terms of sort of supporting well-being, I think you really need to sort of like create an environment where people feel that they can trust you as well, to be able to give you feedback, not only on like the processes or sort of work related stuff, but also on like how you are managing them as well. And I've received feedback myself sometimes, depending on what headspace I'm in. Sometimes I'll get, oh, thank you for being such a human, boss. And then sometimes like, oh, you've kind of lost your kind of more outgoing, excitable sort of touch to your management.
This must be a thin line, talking about personal issues or personal stuff, and also discussing work life, because you can also come as vulnerable sometimes, or maybe lose part of your seriousness in front of the team, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing, though. I do think it is a good thing to be open about like who you are as a person as well. And I think I am. Everyone on my team knows I like a glass of wine. Not that that's my defining feature.
You also have your moments probably where you don't feel so motivated and you have hard time just keeping up with the pace. What do you do in those moments? What are your tips and tricks to stay motivated and with good pace?
I think, it's so easy at the moment to be absorbed by your work because you're at home all the time. There's very little sort of separation. And what really actually works for me is I take the first half an hour of my day to sort of slowly look through my emails, have a coffee with my breakfast, and sort of slowly get into my day, rather than log on at 9 and be like, oh my God, I've got a meeting, everything's going on, I've got messages. So just, I guess, good time management.
Mm-hmm. Are you flexible enough to say, for example, okay, I see the sunshine now behind your back in the window, and say, okay, after this meeting, I will just take a break, and even if it's in the middle of the day, I will take a walk?
Yeah, absolutely. We're kind of lucky at Unity to have that sort of more flexible hours situation. I worked an hour and a half later last night because I had to get something done. So I think I'm going to log off at 3 o'clock and go and enjoy the British spring that's coming.
Very nice.
For me, it's about, as I was saying before, sort of prioritizing, managing my time well. Obviously, some days you just want to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I guess you like thinking of the bigger picture, like, okay, well, what is the impact of not doing this now? You know, who is it going to affect? Like who, you know, you care about the people around you. And also, I think you care about, well, I certainly care about sort of the output or the impact I have on my team, the product, the service. And like, I think having pride in that does help to motivate you in some respects. Tips in general for staying motivated though are sort of, I guess, listening to your body and your mind almost, and, you know, knowing when you need a second. Since working from home, I think it kind of gives you some more flexibility as well to manage your day in certain roles. So if I want to take an hour and a half lunch because I've had early calls, I'll go for a cycle or I'll go to the gym, and I will make that time for me to sort of do something else. And then when you come back, you're kind of in a better headspace to sort of tackle tasks, or you kind of have that fresh mindset, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So your general advice would be to listen to your mind, to your body, and to prioritize and to see the big picture. Am I getting it correctly? Yeah,
correct. Just a more succinct way than I went round the houses there. Sort of on the sort of task-based side, we got super busy at the start of 2020. So this has kind of seen my role shift, which has been challenging but rewarding at the same time. So day to day, I sort of deal with a lot more strategy and sort of overarching projects on process improvement, and sort of more about keeping the team cogs moving, more so than I did before. So I feel like delivering sort of like excellent work has gone from enabling my team and customers sort of directly to taking more of a backseat on day-to-day tasks and sort of looking to the future more, sort of past this 2020 year and into 2021 and forward, hopefully when this is all over.
We all hope so.